I'm finally building a PC. That's right, in case you're wondering, why am I suddenly building a PC? Well, technically I don't really know myself either, but Mama Melody decided to switch to PC gang. Yeah! That means I get to build a really decent custom desktop that would be a great introductory for her. Now, I want to preface this that the choice of parts are very, very particular, and I'm going to explain through it very thoroughly as we build this PC. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to start off with, well, introducing the case, because I can't really say much about this PC without talking about the case. Oh, it's too big for the frame, innit? It's the Zeus, whatever this is called. So this thing is a micro ATX case. Yes, its maximum size is only micro ATX. That means if I were to build a PC with ATX size only, that case is not going to work. Now, to explain the reason why, that's because my mom has a really, really small desk. And the market that I am in is not particularly friendly to ITX builds. So that means the smallest I can go personally is only MATX. But that's perfectly fine, because we're gonna get into another argument that leads to the same point, but you see why. Now, to explain why am I going with this abomination of a motherboard and not go for something like MSI or ASUS, well, it's mainly budget reasons. Well, underneath here we got all the usual stuff. We got the Wi-Fi antenna, a SATA cable, which we'll never use, and an I/O shield, which we will use. Right, so the request that I've been specifically given is to build a PC that will last 5 years and more. So I figured to myself, we're going to make it last 5 years and more, one way or another. However, budget struck, and the moment I'm done picking parts, we suddenly ran out of money for some parts. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to sacrifice some other parts. They're too good to be sacrificed for. So I thought to myself, let's yeet and downgrade the motherboard a little. Now you may think to yourself, picking this motherboard may seem to be a harmless choice considering how we got a real hefty VRM heatsink right here. But wait till you see the processor. Then you see the living nightmare that I'll be living in, and it will forever haunt me for the rest of my life for this kind of part choice. It is an AMD Ryzen 7700X. Now, considering the use case of Mama Melody, she pretty much don't really game at all, not to mention she does not touch any games at all. She only does spreadsheets, online surfing, pretty much all the basic stuff that old people does sometimes. So the build I went for is a GPU-less setup, except the 7700 specifically has an integrated GPU. Now I'm less worried about the integrated GPU because I couldn't really care. She's not gaming, so as long as it runs, right? So we're gonna get straight into the processing power of it. So if you've watched the build mentality video that I filmed some time ago, you would know that I am kind of a mild opposition to the big little architecture that Intel has since the 12th gen. Well, I'm not really full oppositionist. I'm just a little bit of a doubtist because support for it on FreeBSD and probably some parts of Linux, I don't really know, are not fully taking advantage of the big little architecture yet. So it didn't really bring my confidence up at all. So that's why I went for a Ryzen build for the time being. However, I still think it's not really too bad of a choice. Wait till you see the other nightmares I have for you. This is a Kingston Fury Beast, and this stick has only 16 gigs. As stupid as it sounds, I like to build PCs that are, well, if I build it now, I expect it to last 5 years plus. So I want to future-proof it. Although plenty of people would say future-proofing is stupid and future-proofing is dumb, because 5 years later, the prices of these things are gonna go really, really down. I totally understand you. However, for someone who has no cash flow and only has a certain batch of money at that one time, I believe this is a sensible build that could hold me off for quite some time, admittedly. So a second one. So that means 2 of these total up to 32 gigs. Simple. For this next part, I can guarantee you that you're bound to flame me in the comments. For a board like this, I got myself a Samsung 980. Now, my personal justification, I'm trying really hard to go ham on processing power first and everything else second. So you can tell that this rig is without a doubt a complete mental mess, and if anything, the inner machinations of my mind. If this build is messy to you, then you know the sort of person that I am. I am more or less a very messy person. Alright, let's get into building, quit the chatter, and let's just get straight into it. Always check the manual before this. However, I have not, so I'm just gonna look at the legend up here. And on the first glance, it just says first up here. On the slots, the second and the fourth. So we should theoretically put those first, so we get ourselves dual channel. Where are the notches? Oh, there you are. Do you have notches here? Nope, you're fixed. Alright, in you go. Following next it, we're gonna need to get the SSD in. Gigabyte, are you really serious with me? That's loose. I literally just got this board out of the packaging. Okay, screwdriver. Small. Just let your grandma have a sit while she works on this PC. I wonder if this is a Gen 4 slot. Well, you know what? It doesn't really fucking matter. This Samsung 980 is 3rd gen, so it really doesn't matter. Just in we go. Just make sure it's fully in. You don't see the contacts anymore, simple as that. Just leave her in there, because we're gonna need to press her down and try to put this thing back on. Oh my god! Self-reminder, always remember to remove the plastic from the heat pads. You'll thank me later. Alright, we're on. And lastly, we're gonna put one last thing. I got gloves on. Would you look at that? Let's just keep this cover on for a bit. Now, one thing that did jump out to me is that when you look at the processor, you would notice that on this corner, it's on the upper right corner. Usually in the older systems, they were at the bottom left corner. It should be a triangle right here, so we're gonna go triangle for a triangle and just drop her right in. Right, we got the processor nicely put on, so we're just gonna put her in, and it should click right out if I'm not mistaken. Ah, there you go. And my thumb is not enough to reach that stupid thing. Also, don't angle your thumb the way I did earlier. There we go. Please don't throw this, please don't consume this, please don't eat it, please don't do whatever ridiculous shit with it. You're going to need that when you RMA this motherboard. Alright, we're pretty much more or less done. I mean, this is the most simplest build ever. And you'll be wondering to yourself, where's the cooler? I've intentionally chose not to put on the cooler just yet, because what comes next is going to scare the living shit out of you. But we're gonna put this thing away first, so I can show you why. The horror is, inside this case, this cheapo case that I have found randomly online, these thumb screws are really weird. Check this out. This thumb screw is, well, looks barely anything like a thumb screw. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? If you understand this, you know this is a living hell. This case has the orientation where the motherboard's at the bottom and the power supply at the top. Well, it's not too bad and all, but this case also has very, well, shallow cable channels back here. You can't even fit anything here. So this is pretty much a shit show of a case, I gotta be honest. But let's be honest, what can we do? So what we're gonna do first instead is to put this motherboard in, and then we'll put the power supply, and then we'll put the cooler. God, please fucking save me. Right, so we start with a really janky old plastic bag. I'm gonna take this out off camera. You know, I was honestly expecting this to be a very simple build. Oops, rookie mistake. I forgot the IO shield. Right, let's click her right in. That'll do. How are we supposed to get it in? Like this? Alright, there we go.
Whoa, my fingers are getting kicked!
Seems about right. Now what we need to do is get some stand-up screws with a little bit of force, just so we can align the screw hole to the stand-up screws. There we go. And screw her in. Okay, now that we got one of them, let's get the other one for the lower end. And as you may know, handling with a pair of gloves as a VTuber, yeah, that in itself is a living nightmare. Okay, we got these and this of the stand-up screws now in. And what I want to do is get the rest in. These. Basically get as many in as possible so that we keep the motherboard, well, really secure in there. You know what I just realized about this case? I probably screwed in the motherboard a little too soon, because after fully screwing it in, that I noticed that there were very tiny runs for the front panel at the far bottom. There's like a stupidly small 1mm gap under that. Grrr, I freaking hate this case. Now to summarize what I'm going to be doing with the jump cut is to route these LED front panels and the power buttons and the HD indicator, the audio jack, whatever you see that's on the front of the case is going down here, and the USB is coming from the side right here. Gosh darn it, I just realized something. Considering how small this case is, there is only like yet another 1mm gap on that side. But stupidly enough, that's where the SATA ports are, facing that way, that wall. And on this very particular motherboard, that's also where the USB 3 is sitting. Oh, I'm gonna hate myself so much. Instead of looking for a right angle connector from AliExpress, I'm just gonna readapt this USB 3.1 Gen 2 to something that I can use of a 3.0 Gen 1. That way I won't have to deal with the angle and clearance issue over there. Because goddammit, this case is such a nightmare, I gotta be honest. Anyways, remember when you talk about the CPU connector? Yeah, it's right there. Well, imagine getting your hand in there, not to mention with a giant blocky power supply in the way right here. So what we're gonna do is, like I said earlier talking about the jump cut, I'm going to try to cable manage it, and then we're gonna run the cable first before I slide the power supply in on video. You can tell how ridiculously long cable management has happened, to the point that I have been watching Hololive clips. But yes, I have cable managed pretty much everything before I resume recording this video. This is beyond my sanity levels. I needed those Hololive clips to keep me sane. Alright, following next, I got myself a Cooler Master MWE Gold 650 V2. Now I've kind of checked out a certain power supply tier list, and although it may be not so good on my part to treat it as gospel, I did read up a little bit more about it before I make that decision. So if you think this is a poor decision, please let me know in the comments below. But again, this is pretty much a budget build, so this is pretty much the best that I can look for, on top of having a very limited market where I can barely find anything. Oh, I shouldn't really be putting it, I should be plugging them in first. To my absolute relief, there's only two cables, the CPU and the 24-pin ATX connector. Let's just connect them accordingly and slide her in. Oh my god, it says PCIe and CPU. What? I've never seen it use the same type of connectors for this. What the hell? Right, with those connectors in, I'm gonna slide her right in. And I'm gonna have the fan face down because there is no intake on the top. So we're intaking it from the same place where everything else is breathing in. And we're gonna sit her right there for now and try to screw her in. Once we screw her in, we're gonna cable manage it, because we're gonna need some space for the last part. Okay, with that done, let's try to cable manage it. But because of how flimsy I can be with gloves, I'm gonna try to do another jump cut with this. Alright, I tried my extreme best, but with my brutal honesty, this case is terrible, because there's really no space in the back. Like, if I were to try to tilt this PC right now, if you look based on the motherboard, you will see that there's barely any space back here. If I put it over to this side, yeah, you can't fit anything in there. This case is genuinely such a nightmare, which is also why it's currently on that side. So we're gonna try to push her aside and make some space for the final thing of this build. And I swear to god, this is the most time-consuming bit of my life. The stock cooler. So imagine the horrors in my face when I was imagining myself putting a stock cooler with gloves on. Seriously, I'm not fucking with that. We're doing another jump cut. Yeet! There we go. We got it. Ugh. This is such a nightmare. I swear to god. Now, if you're wondering why there are no fans at the end, why is there no exhaust? Well, to put it simply, I didn't think this is 80 millimeters. I'm not prepared for this. I have none in stock. But regardless, I'm glad that there's at least some form of intake from the power supply. So at least we're going to have some 2 intakes over here. So we're gonna have some like heat going in and then probably go up through the power supply then exit through here. But usually I wouldn't recommend doing that because that would be pretty dumb. Especially in the case that where this is the most vulnerable to heat sometimes. So gotta make do what I gotta make do, because this case is not really my choice. Only everything internal is, but not this case. This case is not my choice. So I had to work with it, and it was kind of a bit of a nightmare, but we are finally here, so about time we close it up. You know, this video was supposed to have included an installation video, but because of what time I was filming in, which is 7:30 a.m. JST, pretty much I am way too freaking late in this. So instead I'm just gonna post some pictures of me working on the setup, basically just testing things out to see if they work, and if it works you get to see those pictures. But regardless, I've done assembling a fresh new PC. I'm gonna test it out tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Ko-fi for the commentary of this video and all my other videos. The commentary for each video will go public as soon as the video goes public. However, if you do want early access to it, please check out my memberships on Ko-fi. Be sure to also check out my Discord if you want to keep in touch with me, directly discuss about tech, anything. And yeah, with that said, I'll probably make a separate video about Linux, because I really wanted to make this video a Linux video, but because of how late it is now, I don't think it's possible. Not to mention the prep time just to get my outfit done. Oh, it's such a nightmare. The filming of this whole video is a nightmare altogether, because cable managing in this case, this dumbass case, took me way too long to count, and I don't enjoy it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, Otsumeda deshita. Have a good night. See you around. God, I'm so eepy.